Okay. So y'all know that I'm a deacon, and deacons are responsible for the offering at my church. So we collect the offering, we count the offering, we take it to the bank. And so today, this is how ubiquitous. And the bad thing is, this is how much that whole story about Marvin Sapp and the $40,000 and close the doors of the church. This is how much it's gotten into the fabric of society. Chief executive second born in church texts my wife, myself, and her sister and say, Joel should tell daddy and the ushers to lock the doors right before offering. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What kind of kid am I raising? What did I do wrong, Taylor? And then she sent us, oh my gosh, she sent us a meme. I'm trying to figure, I don't know if it was my wife or Taylor. One of them sent us a meme of a comedian making fun of the whole don't shut the doors of the church. Here it is right here. I don't know who sent it. I don't know which one of them sent it. Let me bring it in. They're ridiculous. My family is ridiculous. Okay. So we're off. We are now off the serious part of the show. We are now being a little lighthearted, but we can be serious. Okay. If y'all want to be serious, we can. But let me bring this in because y'all pray for Taylor. Pray for Chief Executive second born. All right. You've probably seen this is Kev on stage, and he's a comedian, influencer, whatever you want to call it. But here we go. Let's go.
There's 1,000 of you. I said close.
One in the chat if you can hear.
Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors.
Ooh, lock. Ooh.
Close the doors.
Have a seat. Pastor said no leaving.
I gotta go. We all gonna leave.
Go. You ain't listening. Give me your money, nigga. You got it in here.
I don't have 20.
You ain't got 20?
That's for my child support. That's for my child support.
Hey, Pastor, we got 200 back here.
I owe child support. You tell me my credit card.
Yeah.
If I get 1,000 online to give you, if I get 1,000 sanctuary,
can I go now?
That's $40,000.
It's gonna cost you 200 to come back in.
Oh my God.
Challenging each of you all down here.
Never would have made it.
I just think $20 is a lot of money.
Sit down.
$20, believe
Stop chewing gum.
So I don't know. Again, I'm looking at my phone. I think it was actually my wife, so that's actually worse. So I don't know. One of my girls is my wife or Chief Executive second born sent that to the group text this morning, talking about this is what Daddy and the ushers should do at church. They're crazy, man. Yeah, I'm sad to say that this is true. So, matter of fact, yesterday I was on a podcast and we were talking about this particular topic. And you know what? I could bring that in. I said I was, and then I said I wasn't, and I said I might. So I was on a live panel discussion, and it was an interesting conversation because there were five of us. And the general consensus was kind of all around as it relates to Marvin Sapp and the asking for the $40,000, shut the doors kind of scenario. And, me and Rick talked about that this past Friday. Then I talked about it yesterday. And it's kind of interesting. Let me bring it in because I have it ready. Hold on one second. I want to hear what y'all think about it. I think I got it. Oh, yeah, I got it right here. Here it is.
Let's start with Marvin Sapp. Marvin Sapp got himself into some trouble. This is actually from last year, but it's going around now.
One second. There we go. That is not. All right, here we go. Let's go. All right, so yesterday I was on the Track Stars podcast. We got Sean Grant, I think this gentleman's name is James, Sanaya, and Uncle Reese, and of course me. And it was a good conversation. I don't mind hearing your thoughts on it though. So let's bring it in. One in the chat when you can hear.
Literally everywhere. Let's start with Marvin Sapp. Marvin Sapp got himself into some trouble. This is actually from last year, but it's going around now, literally everywhere. I mean, I'm talking about everybody's talking about this. So let's hear what he said that got him into some controversy.
There's 1,000 of you. I said close them. doors. Ushers, close the doors. Close the doors. Close the doors. We all gonna leave together. Y'all ain't going no place but to the restaurant. There's 1,000 of you tonight, and those that are watching, it's 1,000 that's watching online. This is a small seed. If I get 1,000 online to give this, if I get 1,000 in the sanctuary to give this, that's $40,000 tonight. I'm challenging each of you all down here to give a $20 seed. I just think $20 is a lot of money. $20, believe it or not, when my late wife, Melinda P. Sapp, was alive, was a good date. I could take her to the movies, buy a box of popcorn, get 1 soda, 2 straws. I wasn't cheap, that's swag. I was looking in her eyes, she's looking in mine.
What does that have to do?
Can't do that no more. Now, everyone up here, we've all sold and seeded, but I need everyone standing up here with us, with me, to plant a seed of $100. Because again, it costs to sit up here. I got you. Let's see. So put your 20 away, preachers. That 20 wasn't for you. And this is what I need you to do. If you're giving electronically, or even if you're giving tangibly, I'm gonna have y'all come to the altar and give it, because I need to see 1,000 people moving. Bring them baskets. I want the baskets up here. I want to see the folk. Y'all start moving. Y'all can bring it right now. Come. Even if you're giving tangibly, just put your hand on take your phone and stick it on the bucket. Shh. Giving is worship. Giving is worship. Giving is worship. Giving is worship. This ain't the time to talk. 1,000 people need to give $20. 1,000 people need to give $20. 1,000 people online need to give $20. This is easy, saints. This is an easy miracle. We should be able to raise $40,000 tonight just from y'all giving. That's it. Hallelujah. 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 I'm done. Y'all gonna take this mic from me, please? I'm about to go get in my truck. I'm going to my hotel. I got me some fruit. I'm doing fruit now.
Okay. All right. So Marvin Sapp says, shut the doors. Do you have a problem with what he did?
Yes. I got a whole lot of problems with it.
Okay.
Well, first of all, he's impersonating Teddy Pendergrass. Only one he tell you close the doors. But I talked about this last night on the show. I think we got to be honest with it. The man did not say lock the doors. I've seen a lot of headlines and such saying he said lock the doors. He did not say lock the doors. He did say close the doors. So I do want to give credit and want to make sure we acknowledge. He said shut the door. Don't, just shut it. I can understand that. But I don't think Marvin Sapp is aware, and I've watched some of his responses to this. I don't think Marvin Sapp is aware of how the world sees the church and how the world sees ministers, how the world sees more saliently black ministers. They see him as a stick-up man. They see him as the money man. And Marvin, you didn't make him. You only gave them.
That was a stick-up.
Right, that was a stick-up, my guy. I have a friend of mine who's a police officer. He said, if I heard that, he said, I would honestly thought it was a robbery. Yeah. And he's not taking into account how this is perceived. Now, of course, you don't function because of you don't preach based upon the unsaved world. Right. But you do need to be mindful, like, if I say something like this, shut the doors, I need $40,000. No, you missed the part where he was talking about how much he spent on his ordination license. And, somebody came up to me and I just pulled out eight stacks out of my pocket. Sir, that humble brag, most of the people in your congregation can't do that. And it comes across wrong. And it is, whether it was good or bad, I don't think we need to have that argument. It's the perception of it. Because trust me, Saturday Night Live wrote a skit about that, I'm sure. And they gonna skewer you tonight. So I don't think that it was right. I don't think it was needful. and I think it's in poor taste.
What y'all think?
All right, so that was my opening as it relates to this. Shout out to the Track Stars. They are a Christian podcast here in Atlanta. They've been doing it for a while, a long time. They do this kind of panel discussion every week, and it was really good. But as you see here, there's 5 different people. There's 5 different people, and you're going to hear that the ideas and the thoughts on this are going to vary. With my mileage is going to vary for sure. So just want to give you a little bit of background on this before they jump in. And I'll make sure I leave the link to the Track Stars interview down in the description, so you can check it out as well. All right, let's go.
Yeah, I agree. My sentiments. I think, especially I think the church as a whole, but particularly in the black church, when you see a lot of times the pastor is depicted in movies or different things of that nature, they clown the black office in the pulpit. And when you see stuff like that, you see folks coming out asking for money and no kind of legitimate biblical backing behind what you're doing. You see even going as far as saying close the doors. Like, even if you didn't say lock them, saying close the doors. It's like, why can't I leave? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like in the Bible, when people gave correctly, they were led by the Spirit. It wasn't a set amount. They weren't being told, hey, give me this or give me that. It's like, as the Lord put it on your heart to give, you give according to that. So it's a lot of things that's unbiblical about what's going on. And it does make us look bad, not only as a black church, but to the church as a whole. Like, you look at the world as in chaos, and people are looking for answers. And then when the first thing they see on all the blog sites, on Shade Room and Spiritual Word and Breakfast Club and all that,
everywhere,
they talking about a pastor pretty much doing a shakedown at the church. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really gives the gospel a black eye. So when I see this, first it was funny, but now it's like, the more I look at it, it kind of grieves me a little bit, because people already don't take it seriously. So you got to think how many people see this video and be like, man, that's why I don't fool with the church right there. So it had a lot of negative impact, I feel like.
I like it.
So I have a different lens. Like, I don't feel like that makes the church look bad. And then it's like, okay, somebody who's giving an opinion of that.
Okay, but seriously, y'all, this gentleman right here, I've heard a lot of people stop me at church today and ask me about this gentleman right here. I really want the chat. I really want your opinion about his response to this. So just put capital O pen, and then whatever your opinion is on this, because I would love to hear what you think about this gentleman's response to this. Because I think myself, and I think his name is Plain James, that spoke right after me, has a green baseball cap on. I think he and I were pretty much in concert. I want to know what y'all think about this gentleman right here with the dreadlocks. I want to know what y'all think rather. So here it comes.
But you have people on your show that talk about killing people every day, and then you're talking about something looks bad. So I don't care about that. Yeah. When I have a different lens, right? So when I watch that video, right, because I've heard about it, but that's my first time seeing it.
Oh, okay.
So I look at it's easy to see that and then be like, oh, you did wrong. But I feel like when I watch that video, when I look at his body language, his tone, he was absolutely angry about something. You could tell by how he was talking, like he was angry. Now, I don't know if y'all ever have traveled or done shows or stuff like that, but a lot of times when you go to some places, things don't happen the way they're supposed to. Mm. So he sounds absolutely upset. With everybody.
Organizers.
With everybody.
Oh, interesting.
He sounds like he's upset. And then he mentions as soon as he took off, he's like, get the mic. I'm getting in my truck. I'm going to my hotel. So he's upset. So we're watching somebody, let's just be real, somebody who has literally, the boy gave us never could have made it. Mm-hmm. He's anointed.
Never could have paid it, though.
Well, and it's easy to say stuff like that, but it's like, bro, to me, I see somebody that's going through something and it was on camera. And this is what I'll say by that. I think he was upset. He had a bad moment. I don't even judge that by who he is. That was last year. I'd love to even hear if he's still on that or whatever. But the overarching thing is, bro, if you grew up in a black church, that's what they do. But they usually do that because they're like, man, we spent $80,000 on this event and we got $14 and it's 8,000 of y'all in the room. What's the problem? So it's easy to look at that and be like, oh, it make us look bad. It don't make me look bad. Now, me personally, if I would have wanted to leave, I would have left. Or I've been in situations like that when I'm just like, hey, now I hear the number that you want. If I may give it, I might, or I might not. But I look at that like that's a man that man gave us 30 years of his life, bro. He a pastor. It's like it looked like he had a bad moment that was caught on camera. And
Yeah,
that's what it looked like to me.
I can get with that to a certain degree, but
Yeah.
let's look at biblically. We look at Moses, right?
Yeah, he had a bad moment,
He had
and
a
it was caught on and right.
And that bad moment could cost him. So I think,
But that didn't cost him the promised land, so we can't.
but it's not necessarily the promise, man. I'm not talking about necessarily what it cost them, but the fact that the cost had to be paid.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
it is a cost that had to be paid.
So I think the cost that had to be paid, he legitimately may have been frustrated. Legitimately may have been angry.
I
and
wish he
everything.
wouldn't have had that moment.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not
Yeah.
villainizing him or saying he's not anointed. Or I'm
Yeah.
not saying his whole career was a sham or he's shysting folk for money. I would never say I don't know what's hard.
But I
can't say
promise
that.
you this: the same people talking about him was crying at their wedding, walking and never could have made it.
I wasn't.
Maybe.
It's like, did y'all forget? It's like,
But-
okay,
yeah,
but
he had
if-
a bad moment.
You don't villainize the person, but we can be
I'm
critical.
not
of it.
villainizing the person. I'm protecting a human that had a bad day.
Possibly, but okay. Let's see his reaction to it and see if you agree with him.
Well,
No, I'm saying I'm gonna read.
I already know what it's gonna be. If y'all came to my house and said if everybody in the world was calling me stupid, I know what my reaction might be.
Do you think this is gonna be bad too?
It
might not.
it
be
was probably a
hear
moment
it.
where he
Let's read
should
it.
have probably.
Let's read it. All right. So this is what he said. The truth is, when finances are being received in any worship gathering, it is one of the most vulnerable and exposed times for both the finance and security teams. Movement during this sacred exchange can be distracting and at times even risky. My directive was not about control. It was about creating a safe, focused, and reverent environment for those choosing to give and for those handling the resources. Unfortunately, in the social media age, snippets are easily shared without context and assumptions are quickly made without understanding the full picture. Conferences have budgets, churches have budgets, and people have budgets. As the assigned ministerial gift for this international gathering, one of my responsibilities was to help raise the conference budget. That's not manipulation, that's stewardship.
That's fugazi.
Oh, so now look at that. Oh, look at that.
No, that sounds.
Okay, let me bring you up to speed because I had it. So fugazi is another way of saying that that's a lie, or I don't know how it became fugazi, but it basically means it's a lie. So, and I'm reading the comments. I mean, you all seem to be on par with what my thought process was. That, I'll say right now, I don't know what he's talking about with security and being secure. That makes no sense. I'm sorry, that just doesn't make sense. It's not, y'all make it something where you don't want people moving and you got to keep your eye on folk. Nobody else does that. You don't have to do that. And I can tell you emphatically that you don't. Now, again, it just seems like silliness. So bless Uncle Reese's heart, because I don't think that he was ready for this answer. So let's see what he gives. Let's go.
It's like that sounds like you have a great PR person.
So you think he's lying?
So that's
now.
what I'm saying.
This is what I would have loved
Right.
to have heard. Just me as who I am as a person. I would have loved him to be like, my bad.
Yeah.
All of us said that, yes.
Why won't he?
Because the same reason nobody does that. We don't live in a transparent world, bro.
And that's the problem. I would have much rather respected, like, look, man.
Well, watch this. That was a moment of transparency because let's raise your hand if you ever sat through one of those. I've sat through 100 of them.
I sat through stuff like
So
that.
watch this. That means that's our culture.
That's
Okay.
the problem.
I mean, it's
though.
right, though.
That's the problem, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that is a problem. But what But it's almost like this. If it's a problem, how did it get like that?
Yeah, that's what we got to root out.
Right.
And
But
I think I'm gonna let you go in a second. But the thing that people got upset about was the closing of the doors. Now I've heard people say, refrain from moving at this time, be prayerful, you know. But the implication in this tone of voice was, I told y'all to shut them doors. We getting this money.
Right. That's what it sounded like.
I didn't hear that.
You gotta go back and listen to it again.
Listen what I'm telling you, dog. Like, so I've been blessed throughout my career, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, I'm married to Carrie Hicks. So
What's that?
I'm aware. I've usually had the blessing of being quiet. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm upset, I go sit down. Once again, his wife ain't here. I ain't making no excuse for him.
I guess.
But my wife would have been in the crowd to my
Right.
Like, hey, chill.
Yeah.
He was mad. I'm telling you.
But then he
was
should
mad.
apologize then.
I'm gonna tell you how you
He
heard
should.
it.
Well,
he should.
Hold on,
Well, I'm only to push back on the he was mad argument. He doesn't say that in the response that I was upset. I was emotionally charged.
That's fugazi.
Right. So even in his response sounds very much like what we're saying.
Right.
That he was.
I'm with
mindful
y'all.
of the
I'm on
money.
y'all team.
Oh, okay.
I'm on y'all team.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm with y'all. I wish stuff like that did not happen. I hate it. It sucks. But let's be real. It's the culture we come from.
I'm gonna show you this on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
Me and Young Noah, we at the show. We in Miami, right? Dude say he gonna give us X, Y, and Z. We drove down there.
That's everybody's story.
No, I'm saying. So that's 10 hours, right?
Yeah.
So we do the show. He was like, man, the money ain't looking right. I didn't get the mic and said, hey, man, shut the door. You know what I'm saying? What I did was I got bro in the office. I said, hey, bro.
Close the
Which
door.
probably one of the best things. I said, hey, bro, we got to leave with something, bro. You know what I'm saying? But I did that behind the scenes.
Well, yes. I'm glad. I'm glad you did that.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like.
But watch this. Because I know you now.
Yeah.
I know you now.
I know you do.
Now that you telling that one story now.
Yeah.
Now imagine if everything you did was on tape.
Everything. I'm a transparent person, so I feel like I could put it on there.
Yeah, but I wouldn't want everything that I've done.
I wouldn't either.
Not everything, but I'm just saying.
Even in the context of this ministry stuff, like I've had bad days,
Right.
and I'm glad they weren't on camera.
Mm-hmm.
All I'm saying is this, bro. We are so quick to kill our wounded, bro. My thing is this. This is my thing, right? I'm never gonna publicly. I'm just telling where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we cut these cameras off, we could talk about it. But in front of these cameras, I'm gonna protect.
Oh, okay, so you
Period.
So you feel like we need to
That's
protect Marvin.
That's our bro. We family.
I think we need to take it to scripture, because whether he was upset or not, we need to understand that scripture says that
he's
even
dead.
though you're
He's wrong.
angry, you're not supposed to sin. Not saying he sinned, but we also need to understand our presentation
Yes.
matters.
Yeah.
So his anger may have been justified, because I've been in conferences. Usually, like you said, when those conversations happen, is when you in conferences, and like you said, we put this money out. Y'all ate from these singers, these pastors. They fed you well, but you don't want to give in the offering. That is an issue in the black church, and that did come to me even on
Why though?
I don't know, but even
I
on
know.
yesterday, to where the Lord was
Redlining.
like, we need to stop making it hard for the people of God to do their work for God. Pay the people. Why are you just ate from a 4-day service? You've been in eight different sessions. You got everything you needed, but you don't want to give an offering.
That's good.
I'm not validating that he's saying everybody need to give $1,000, but he shouldn't even have to have this conversation with you. You are.
I love this. Thank you so much. I'm going to stop her in the midst because this is it. And this is kind of where we were in the conversation. Apex, you're crushing it today. This is kind of where we were. And we didn't go there. I really wish we had gone there and talked about it, because this is what I think is missing. This is a hold accountable issue. Marvin Sapp is a sinner just like me. He's a dude just like me. He needs to be held accountable just like I need to be accountable. And if I do something wrong, I need to be called on the carpet. Thankfully, I don't do things that get dare I say, global response. But again, if I do something boneheaded, I need to get called on the carpet about it. And this is the thing, like, he needs to be held accountable and just say, like, that's wrong. But more importantly, if you look back and watch the video, there's 10, 20 guys standing behind him. Every one of them people should have said, no, this is not appropriate. No, that's not cool. Sure, we might need the money for the conference, or to pay the speakers, or pay for the rental, all that kind of stuff like that. We'll figure it out. But this avenue is not the one. That's not the jam. So I agree with you 100%. And I think that's the pushback that I would give. And also, Bill 607, I'm going to drop the link in a second. Please make sure you come on up. I want to hear your voice about this. All right, let's keep it going. Let's go.
Are quick to pay $350 to go see Beyonce perform, but when an evangelist comes and they gave you the word that you've been praying for, you don't want to give $50?
Well, the reason may be is because of the reputation that some preachers have taken advantage of people that don't have the resources and have kind of pimped them out of their money. So there's a fear that, yeah, you're right. It makes financial sense for me to help you with this thing that you put on, but it feels like I'm getting juked. You know what I'm saying?
When you factor in that Marvin had just got up there and talked about how he paid $2,000 for his ordination license. My ordination license was free. I don't know why yours was $2,000. I don't know. Mine was free. Right. And then when they got to the conference and the guy said, "Hey, you owe us $800," and I just reached in my pocket, that didn't sound good.
And so you got a Dior jacket on while you're going.
Right. That just doesn't come across. And again,
watch this, right? I do believe that we should be conscious of how we represent God.
That's all we
say. And I think that's it.
But I've lived a life of that. So I've lived a life of that. Like, you ain't never even seen me with somebody of the opposite sex. Never. Nobody ever has.
Right.
Because I don't do that. So I'm not speaking as a person that I'm making an excuse for this, brother. I'm saying I lived that life, but it's by the grace of God. I have had bad days, but typically, maybe it's my upbringing or whatever, but I'm like this here. There's a bigger problem than what we saw.
Okay, so real quick, and by the way, if you're just jumping in, I would love to hear your opinion on this topic. I want to hear what your thoughts are. So if you could, just put the word opine, and then whatever it is that you think. That way it'll stand out. So put it up there. So if I'm to give you the context, Future, apparently it was a conference. So imagine we're going to Miami for a conference. You have 8 speakers that come. So you as a conference organizer, you got the event, you got to pay for travel, maybe hotel for these people, all that kind of jazz like that. And maybe that's what they need the money for. I wasn't really clear what the money was needed for, but I'm sure it was something around that. I don't think it was just like, give me this money so we can just put it in our pockets and go home. I don't think that's what it was, because it was a conference. And so technically it wasn't church, but it was a Christian conference. Okay. If that makes sense. So I just want to make sure I put that in the proper context. But again, I've heard, and matter of fact, somebody just jumped in right here. I heard that there was he wasn't the only one that was asking for various and sundry monies and such like that. Personally, again, I think it's bad. I don't think it looks good. You should just price the conference accordingly. If you have 1,000 people come, then you need all 1,000 people to pay, $200. Then that'll cover all your costs. If you have, 1,500 people come, then it'll be, $175, something like that. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I think they should price it accordingly and not rely on, and you can still take an offering. You can still do a love offering. You can still do, if you want to support the ministry, hit the QR code. You can still do all of those things. I just think that the way that Marvin did it, it comes across as super grimy. And a lot of people are, in my opinion, they're doing a lot of turn themselves into a pretzel to try to make it sound good, when in actuality, it don't sound good. It don't sound right. Because you wouldn't expect it, to bring it home. If you went to your favorite music artist concert, and let's say you paid for front row seats, you would not expect them to say, hey, by the way, there's 3,000 people here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. We need all of y'all to give us $10 extra. Well, you wouldn't expect that, because you would say, well, you should have priced this front row seat to the place that it will cover that $10 that you need. That's what we would have said. And that's what I think we were saying here. But it was an interesting conversation. Let's let him finish.
Of course.
Yeah.
And I can give you that. I'll give you that for sure.
I'm gonna give you this though. Like, this is the point I'm making. Like, we can't really blame him. I understand he have a bad day or whatever, but at the end, I try to finish it with scripture. Like, we know the story of Achan, don't you?
Yeah.
Achan, when he was in the battle, whatever, they said, don't take nothing.
Yeah.
Achan took something, right? What happened? When they went to battle, they lost to AI. AI was like the smallest army out there. They had this big, powerful army. They lost to AI because one man did something. When he did something, it didn't just affect him. It affected a lot of people. So that's what I'm saying. For him to be 30 years of giving it to his life.
I get that, right?
Listen though.
He gave it to God, not to people.
He gave it to God, not to
Yeah,
people.
I get
He should be seasoned enough and mature enough spiritually to know that certain things like this, when people are already critical of the church, this can be taken as we're in a snapshot generation.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna go watch the rest of the program. Nobody cares if he was mad.
Yeah.
All they gonna do is say, "This is why I don't fool with the church." And that's somebody who's been in the game as long as he has. He should be mature enough to know you don't.
Well,
do certain
watch
stuff
this.
on camera.
Watch this though. I've been in the game 10 years.
Right.
It is the most hurtful and detrimental space. Like, bruh, I have been like, I lived a whole nother life before I got saved. Right. I had more peace in that life than I did being an artist. So I'm telling you, these artists are jacked up. They broken. There's not one artist who ain't been absolutely robbed.
Yeah, no question.
They jacked up, bruh. They messed up. And I'm not making an excuse for them, but I'm just saying this, right?
Is he retiring though?
Well, no, this is what I'm telling you, right?
Yeah.
That was wrong.
Yeah.
That should not have happened.
That's all we're saying.
That's it.
I am saying this, okay, we done acknowledged that already. But I'm not finna placate to some heat. I mean, I'm not gonna placate the heat. Bro, there's some heathens talking about he wrong.
Yeah.
Bruh. Who we talking about?
But that's the thing. When you do that kind of stuff on that kind of stage, you're giving people access to what's going on within. They don't even have an understanding of how.
Let me
You're
provide
giving them something to talk about.
Let me provide some understanding. I think, and you could confirm because you've done these shows and stuff, right?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he doesn't get any of the money he asked for, right?
It just depends on whatever his agreement is.
He came to the conference. He probably got an honorarium for coming and
we
speaking.
don't know what his agreement was.
But that's most likely he didn't get a percentage of the.
He might have.
He could have, but most of the time that I've seen, you got paid to be there.
It's about 50-50
and
for me.
they probably said, since we brought you here, can you try to make sure you bring some of that back into the building? We pay for you to come. Can you please help us get some of that back? That's what he said.
Let me
Let
me give you a context too, right? He's also a pastor, I believe. Man, he may be mad at his church, and now they getting that.
You can't bleed on the people though, right?
No, I'm not saying.
And at this point, I really feel like nephew really went. He really went. This is full bore cope. I think we should just stay right there. Marvin Sapp was wrong. We got to do better. Hold each other accountable. Don't let me do that. I mean, that's really where I think we should have landed. But watch this.
Saying that is right.
Right.
I'm just trying to say less. I'm just saying this.
Grace.
When I see 1,000 people throwing rocks, I make sure I don't throw one.
Gotcha.
The whole world is talking about this man like a dog in the street.
Yeah.
I'm not finna do it.
But here's the thing. I'm trying to give him bail. Like this is what I'm trying to say is that it's likely. You saying it's possible, it's not. But I'm saying it's likely that he doesn't get any of the money he asked for. It was them saying, "Hey, since we brought you here, can you help bring some of this back in?" And he was doing his duty as the guest speaker to try and help recoup some of the money that brought him and the other speakers out. This was one of the nights of this conference. There was other people that came, right? So I think just to be fair to him. I think the perception is he was getting that money that he was asking for.
He might have been getting it.
But a lot of the times this happens, that person does not get the money. So I don't want to assume he's getting that money. You see what I'm saying?
What happened is there's a and I like I said, I love conversations and videos like this because it gives us a chance to have the overarching conversation.
Yeah.
Why is this our culture and why is this okay?
That's a great question.
Because
I think that's a great question.
So yes, he's wrong, but
I think we should have stayed right there. We don't need. He said, "Yo, this is wrong." But you know what? It would be wrong if I know many of you all were joking about the In Living Color skit, where it's Jim Carrey and Damon Wayans. It was wrong there with a white man and a black man. It's mad if it was wrong if it was a Hispanic man and an Asian man. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's a stick up and it's wrong. So it doesn't matter that the ethnicity doesn't really matter in my opinion. It's wrong. Now, we as the highly melanated, we've excused this behavior for entirely too long. And we do need to say it out front and loud. This is wrong. Sean has a great, thank you so much, Apex. Sean has a real solid understanding. He's a gentleman with the, I think it's Hilton Head, HHI on his hat. He had a full understanding of it. And I don't think that this gentleman right here next to me is a bad guy at all. He definitely is a fun guy to talk to, and no question about it. If he ever called me and said, "Jason, let's sit down and have some wings," I'm on my way because it's going to be fun. He just seemed like a comedian, man. Like I like talking to him. That being the case, I still can say, yeah, I don't think we're landing in the right spot as it relates to Marvin Sapp was wrong. And that's it. Like, we don't need to we should stop doing this because I've been to conferences before and they don't do that. They charge appropriately. Now they still allow you to give. Now they ain't gonna turn it down. They got the little QR code up on the screen and say, hey, if you want to give something to this, that's fine. But you already paid your conference fee. That's it. And that's the end of it. So I think we need to be mindful of that and stop allowing this constant nickel and diming of the situation. And charge your vendors appropriately. Maybe you're not charging your vendors. Maybe the person that put together the conference, he or she is not good at budgeting and they need a different conference promoter or conference planner to make sure that they have enough vendors to provide enough service and you get the money from the vendors and from your ticket pricing. That's it. Okay, let's go. Finish up. We're almost done.
He ain't the first person to do that. Like we all done been through 8 of those, 10 of those, 12 of those. It's like, why is that allowed in our culture? How did that happen? Okay, how come you can have 3,000 people in a room that look like us and ain't no money, but then you can have 300 people in a room with people that don't look like us and you can raise more?
Yeah, we obviously know what the answer to that is.
Well, let's talk about that.
But that's the thing, though. At some point, Marvin Sapp ain't broke. You know what I'm saying? Marvin Sapp got more money than...
We don't...
I ain't gonna say this. When I say broke,
I hope he's not, because if he is, then that looks worse.
Exactly. So this is what I'm saying. I guarantee he probably got more money than the majority of people in that building.
Probably.
This man never would have made it, but he making money in his sleep.
You know how that goes.
He might have never made it.
You don't
know. It is the music.
We would like
Kurt Franklin was just on Shannon Sharp talking about he trying to get his publishing back.
Man, well, I'm just saying.
We don't know. We don't know what deal you signed, brother.
This is me. And I feel what you're saying. This is me. I try my best not to villainize people.
Yeah, you
the
good
person,
people. Yeah.
Because I know, like I said, people have a bad moment, but I'm not going to just throw you away, but I am going to talk about the behavior.
And I'm talking about I acknowledge that, hey, my boy, that's wrong, dog.
Yeah.
And that's where we were. That's where we landed.
Right.
So we
I don't know.
I think
I mean, y'all landed there, but I feel like them stones was...
I don't think we carried the conversation long enough to see where the stones were going to land.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I was throwing them. I was throwing the
I
stones.
mean, I think it's fine that you're sticking up for him, but I think at the end of the day, we have to break out of this. We can't just say this is what we do.
No, we gotta kill it. No, we gotta have the conversations like these and kill it.
All right, cool. So hopefully that helps anybody that is curious about Marvin Sapp. Of course, you're welcome, sir, to come defend yourself if you want to.
Shout out to the track stars. That was fun. And so that was our live panel. Panels are interesting. I like panels, but I've never been on one where you're literally sitting next to the person. That's a whole different experience than just being, the Brady Bunch squares on the screen. When you're literally sitting in front of somebody, you can watch the body language. You can see the facial expressions of the two people over here out of the corner of your eye versus the person that you're looking at. It is very different. So it was fun though. But shout out to the track stars. What were y'all saying? What y'all say? All right, what we got here? There's a little pay to play element as well. Marvin hints to it. Oh no, he does say that. And I really, K-Dub, from All Things Theology, has the full video, and I should have asked him for it before I came on, but I wasn't initially planning to talk about it tonight. But no, there's a pay to play element. Me and Rick talked about it on his show on Friday. Like, yeah, it's kind of like a mafiosa kind of effect. So yeah, you're right on the money, Apex, for sure. Yeah, if you just charge a better entrance fee, you should not have to worry about that. If you're a conference, if you're expecting 3,000 people at the Cleveland International Conference Center, I don't know if that's a real place, and you're expecting 3,000 people, you have 45 vendors selling books, tchotchkes, t-shirts, and food. How do you book that? How do you bill that appropriately to make sure that all of your vendors are properly, they're all paying their dues, because they're going to get a swell of people to come to their booths and all that kind of stuff like that. Do you have a tier system of vendors, a tier system of sponsors? Because you got other people like podcasters and radio hosts that want to be there to talk with the people and talk to the conference speakers and all that kind of stuff like that. And then how much are you compensating the conference speakers? Are you paying for their flights? Are you paying for their hotel? And of course, you got to pay for food, right? To me, it just seems like they're not planning appropriately. And they've gotten comfortable because they tap their cousin or their niece who wants to be a conference speaker. Wants to be a conference planner. And they don't have the proper funding in place. Therefore, you have to have somebody come up. I've never been to a conference, and I'm not a big conference guy. Let me just say that real quick. I don't go to conferences every Tuesday or something like that. It just seems like you're not properly planning it appropriately so that the entrance fee to get into the conference, let's say it's $100. So we already said you got 3,000 people coming. So that's $300,000. Okay. Will that be sufficient for covering the Cleveland International Conference Center, lights, security, all that kind of stuff like that, plus the monies that comes from your 45 vendors that you have? How much are you charging them? Each of them is charged, $200 to be a vendor there. And then you got that money coming in. Is that going to be enough to pay your 10 conference speakers, a few, and that's their flight, their travel to and from, and of course, food? To me, you're just not planning appropriately. And we've gotten comfortable allowing them to not plan appropriately. What's going on, Rick Caldwell? Grace and peace, my brother. There is my friend and brother Rick Caldwell from Caldwell Apologetics. I was on his channel on Friday. We were talking about this very video. And so you have the longer form of it. You have the full version of it. And it is, and again, there's a pay to play, as I think Apex said earlier. There's a pay to play element to it for sure. And I agree. I don't think it's a good reason for somebody to be burned out from church. Just go find a better church. But to your point, Apex, this is a reason, and this is what we were trying to say on the panel last night at Track Stars, is that this gives them an excuse. Now, granted, I don't think it's a good excuse. I don't accept it as a good excuse, but it does give them duck and cover. And therein is the problem. Yeah, without correction, bad behavior continues. And I think, in my opinion, not properly planning. If you're going to do a conference, you have to be dialed in. You got to be dialed in all the way down, and you got to make sure it's planned properly. Just like a concert. You would not go to a concert and spend, you know, I heard, I'm going to bring her up, but I heard the Beyonce concert. I heard it's like $1,000 for the nosebleed seats. It's something crazy. That's not my artist. I'm not a part of that. That's not my tribe at all. So I wouldn't spend 10 cents to listen to her. But the amount that people are paying for these tickets now is crazy. You wouldn't go there and expect it to be something crazy, half baked. Her getting up there doing a money grab, like, hey y'all, we're gonna pass the buckets here, real quick because we gotta raise $300,000 before we leave. Y'all, ushers, close the doors. You wouldn't expect that. I mean, and that's from somebody secular. And entrance fees can be paid well in advance in events, so you know what it. That's what I'm saying. I don't think, personally, I think the planning of the event, and this is only going to go to expose the problem that we have in the highly melanated community. Our conferences aren't planned properly. That's it. That's the end of the day. That's it. In another lifetime, I used to do a lot of work when TD Jakes used to do his conferences here in Atlanta. He used to do, what was that? Mega Fest, Manpower, and Woman Thou Art Loose, literally in the Georgia Dome, the Georgia Convention Center, and the Omni Center. So he had literally all three of those places booked down. And literally you were just going all day throughout there. And I used to work for a logistic company that helped move the people around, move the conference speakers around from their hotel to their conference and back to dinner and back to their hotel, stuff like that. And it was crazy. But now granted, they was doing a stick up too. They was asking for the money, but they were in my opinion, it was just because they knew that he could. They knew they could get away with it because it wasn't like they needed it. There was a lot of money being spread around. They didn't need it as much as they would they would look as opportunity. But yeah, that was just it. So. Oh, no question about it. I agree. And again, I don't think it's a reason to leave the church, capital C, but it's a reason to leave that church. And again, to be fair, that was a conference. It wasn't a church. But I know somebody today said that they digitally stopped by Marvin Sapp's church just to see what they were doing during offering. And Marvin Sapp wasn't doing the offering. Let's just say it like that. He was preaching, but he did not do the offering. So no, I agree. I just think the conferences aren't properly budgeted. That's the problem. That is the problem. It's just not properly budgeted. But there's other areas of life, other areas of society that are equally just poorly budgeted. They're not planned properly, and we've kind of accepted it. We'll bellyache about it. We'll fuss. We'll complain. We'll write a blog post or do a YouTube video about it. But really, nothing's going to change unless something changes. So that's just something we got to fix. But is that Randy McFoy in the building? Grace and peace to you, man. How are you, man? Good to see you, brother. We just got done talking about the Right Reverend Marvin Sapp. It's been a long time. Grace and peace to you, Randy. Good to see you, man. So yeah, I think, in my opinion, yes, here we go right here. Planning and stewardship. If you're going to a conference, you probably have a little bit of bread in your pocket. You know, if you're flying to Miami to go to a conference, you probably have a little bit of money in your pocket just for incidentals and such like that. But if you know that you've paid properly, that money that's the incidentals, you don't have to feel like you gripping your wallet and they're going to stick you up. So it's just, I would love to know, just for GP, I would love to hear, how was the planning for this conference? How did that work out? How were they planning for it? Like, matter of fact, who planned it? Was it an official conference planning company that does this as their profession, or was it like somebody's cousin, or the mother's board from XYZ Baptist Church? Who put on the conference? Who did it? And then what was their expertise as it relates to budgeting? Sapping money from the people. I love it. That's it, Randy. That is it. They was sapping that money from them. But yeah, good to see you, man, Mr. McFoy. Matter of fact, if the moderators could drop Randy's link in the chat, he is a fantastic content creator. And matter of fact, let me drop the link in here. Randy, where you been, man? Let's rap for a second. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat. If you got a moment, Randy, jump on. I want to hear what you've been up to. What kind of trouble you causing? I gotta make sure I put your link in the chat while I'm talking. So I just dropped it in. If you got a second, Randy, come on, hop on real quick. So, but yeah, thank y'all so much, man. That was a lot of fun. And like I said, we've been rocking. I was at the Track Stars today. That was fun yesterday, and definitely looking forward to maybe doing that again in the future, or doing more panels in general. Like, I think panels are fun. I have to admit, panels are a good discussion topic, good way to discuss things. Let's go on. Here's Randy McFoy's YouTube channel. Go check out what he's doing over there at the Truth Seekers podcast. If you have time, I did drop that link for you, Randy. And if not, it's all good. Let me see what we got here. I'm just checking to make sure I didn't miss anybody's email. And I'm still waiting for VO7 to let me know if they're ready to hop on, because I want to hear about what they got to say. I'm going to give them an opportunity to set me straight. You know, I like that. All right. All right. No new emails, which is fine. Oh, come on, brother. He probably got to get his bonnet off. Threw him for a Mickey Flynn. Said, jump up in here real quick. He was like, look, I wasn't ready. All right. Lots of good stuff going on. Checking real quick. Checking the traps. Here we go. Is that my brother? Wait. There's my brother right there. Oh. There he is. What's going on, man? How are you?
All is well. All is well. All is well, my brother. How are you?
Quite well, man. Quite well. Who's that?
That's my son. He wanted to.
What you doing, man? How are you?
Hi.
How's it going? What's your name?
Sion.
Tion?
Sion.
Sion. Very nice meeting you, Sion. There we go. There, get him in there. All right, Sion. How old are you?
8.
All right, Sion. If you're gonna be on the show, you got to drop some knowledge on us. You ready? How much does your dad pay you for doing your chores? Oh, you didn't know you were supposed to get paid? Oh, I messed it up for him. Oh no. Did you know you were supposed to?
We old school. We just do chores because mommy, daddy tell us to do chores.
Well, there you go. I love it. All right. Well, Sion, I'll try to work him over a little bit, see if we can get a little something extra, at least something this week, and see if we can work him over for that.
Work on something.
I love it, man. Sion, thank you for stopping by, man.
You're welcome.
All right, you stay good. Have a good week at school this week.
Okay.
Randy McFoy in the building. How are you, brother?
How's it going?
Good, man. Good seeing you, man. Thank you for stopping by.
Good to be here. Love your channel.
Thank you, man. All right. So I know, and Randy, you are a pastor. Well, you know what? Don't let me steal your thunder. Do you mind telling everybody who you are, what you're about, what your channel's about, and then I got a couple questions for you.
I am the associate pastor of Church in the Glades, not by the Glades.
He had to make sure he qualified that thing. I love it.
But Church in the Glades is also in Florida, in Miramar, Florida, and I've been serving here for about 5 years, and I love every minute of it.
I love it. All right, so Randy, I'm sure you saw Marvin Sapp's video.
It's funny you said that because I didn't share anything with my wife, but as my pastor was preaching, she said, Marvin Sapp, lock people in. I said, yeah, I followed it. I know. I said, yeah.
Oh. All right. So give me your overall perception of the video. Did you see the 9-minute clip or just the short?
I think I saw that. I saw All Things Theology covering it.
Oh, okay, good. Then you saw the 9-minute clip. Okay, cool. That was a longer clip. Okay, give me your overall perception.
Well, I mean, it's the typical greed, fleecing the flock. People just want money. Everything is centered around money. Even I didn't hear the sermon, but it seems like he said, if you receive the word, then sow a seed. And it's like,
right.
There's no biblical basis for that.
Absolutely.
Preach the word faithfully, and the Holy Spirit and the word of God will do the rest. But you don't have to, sow a seed to receive it. It doesn't line up. So it's a typical with them guys, just money hungry.
No, I appreciate it. No, that's right on the money. Do you think what would you say would be a correction? How can we correct this issue? Because it's fair to say that we know this to be par for the course in the highly melanated community, but nobody's resolved of it. Nobody's free of it. Everybody has seen it, but it's pretty prevalent in the Black community, Black congregations, however you want to phrase it. What should we do? What would be your solution?
I think they need to have a biblical understanding of giving. I know there's some circles that believe in tithe or not tithe, but even if you believe in tithing, which I don't, but even if you do, there is still a godly way to approach that section, that area of worship, right? Because giving is worship. And there's nothing wrong with encouraging the people to give. There is nothing wrong with that, but the church as a pastor, we always want to be self-aware of how the world perceive the church. And the world already perceive the church as money hungry, pastors just want your money. So don't feed into it, No,
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So let the congregation know, hey, this, we give, this is how we give and keep it brief and move on. But they have like 20-minute segments of just giving and begging and sounding like Pete Sweat up here begging,
Begging. I timed ours, and we get done with our offering, and we have sometimes 220 to 230 people in church, and we get done with our offering in 7 minutes. So it's not long at all.
Right.
But the end result is still God is faithful. Because at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, because I'm a deacon, so we deal with the budget. If we ain't hitting our money goal and we don't have our money, we do not go back and say, hey, y'all, we got a Shanghai. Like my daughter is texting in church today, talking about Pastor Joel should do like Marvin Sapp, and sends us that Kev on stage meme where he's trying to leave out the church and the usher locks the door and pats him down and steals his wallet. And I thought it was hilarious, but we don't do that. We don't have to do that, because at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, we are trusting in God for our needs. So we put the ask out there. We're in the middle of a building campaign right now. We put the ask out there. We did our very best to make sure that the congregation knew what the money was for, what the building process is going to look like, answered all their questions. And that's it. We don't do a special, building campaign offering. We don't do a night of building campaign. Any of that foolishness. We done our best, and we just leave the rest to God.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, like you said, it's Christ Church, right? And Christ is going to feed, going to take care of his flock. Whether it's a building, whether it's the budget, whether it's spiritually, God is going to take care of his people. So
I love it. Real quick, Randy, hold on. I'm sorry, I'm gonna leave this on screen. Do you have anywhere on your channel that you've addressed this topic?
I haven't. There is a reason why I haven't.
Okay, no problem.
There's so there's some disagreements in some of my circles.
Yep.
So I try to be careful of what I say, what I do. Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. Hence why I wasn't going to let you talk about it right here. I said if Randy got a video, I would gladly drop the video on it.
Yeah.
But I think And yeah, I will just leave it like that. Apex. Hopefully you understand. Let's see. This might give us a chance to get some duck and cover. I've attended many prosperity gospel-based churches, and over the past few years, I'm having a change of mind. I totally understand why you would have a change of mind. So, my admonishment is, if your change of mind comes from the scriptures, then you are most safe. You are most, and again, and I think I can speak for you, Randy, and myself as well. We're not saying don't give to your church.
Right.
We're not saying don't give anything. So what we are saying, however, is just be biblically sound on why you are doing whatever you do. You and your family are in agreement, Apex, or you and your family are in agreement, whomever, and you just roll like that. And I don't think that you will find any less support of the Holy Spirit and support of God being faithful over your finances in any other way than just staying with the scriptures.
Yeah.
And how you understand the scriptures.
Right. And I don't think it's wrong if a church, preach on money. It's just that it's just for somebody, a lot of these churches is like every week it's about
it's not.
And they take strange scriptures and twist it, the Benjamin and God's tithe, and it's like it's in when you have a greed for money, you see it everywhere in scripture, even when the scripture is not talking about it.
Yeah. And I don't know if you caught it in the beginning. I went over my pastor's sermon from today. I went over his sermon today. And I've said this before many, 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 many times. We as Christians should hear the gospel just as much as the unsaved sailor, 304, cussing person, the most unregenerate person. Randy, Jason, we need to hear the gospel just that much. And this sermon today was fantastic because it was nothing but the gospel in church on a Sunday to believers. And I bring that up because when your focus is on the right thing, you can just trust God with the rest. And, kind of like we were talking about the conference, we're not even breaking ground on our building project until we know we have more than 75% of the money for the entire project in the bank.
That's good.
So we're not now. We could have broke ground last Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
We could have started already, but we said no, that's not proper because there's just too many things too volatile. We got too many people that are above this age. We got too many kids that are below this age. We got too much stuff going on. Not until the summer. I'm sorry, basically the end of school year. So the trucks will be there the last day of school. But once school year is over with, we should have 75% of the funds we need to break ground and start this process. But back around the block, we don't do, we have a little trifold in the fellowship hall reminding people about it and showing the little windows getting filled up and the little thermometer going up. That's it. Yeah. That's it. There's no special nothing. We're just doing it. We trust God for it. And I've been in the meetings. I don't go to the finance meetings. I'm not on the finance team, but I'm on the budgeting. We're sitting there trimming our budget. We're slicing the budget as deacons, but we're not. The thing that's funny to me is we're slicing the budget, Randy, but we've not stopped being giving. They do stuff for people, whether it be getting so and so. We got people who on a regular basis, we get their grass cut.
That's good.
We're paying for people to get their grass cut. Yeah. Even though we're in the middle of we could save that money.
Right.
We could save that money. Yeah. But we do a lot of other things of that nature, but we're trimming in other places. Yesterday, we put in all these electric thermostats. So now the head deacon can control all the air from the comfort of his own home. Okay. So now we know we can cut it. We can really trim it back and cut it off in here on this side of the building. Why is the heat so hot and all that kind of stuff like that? Yeah. He can do that from his phone. Why do we do that? Because we're trying to trim as much as it can without cutting back on being a blessing to the body. Because if we need to go buy a bag of groceries for somebody, we don't need to be looking saying the deacon fund is depleted because we ain't been refilling the deacon fund. Right. Or whatever it is that we use. So I just think that's dope. But all of our faith is in Him. Like we trust in God for His money, but we're not shanghaiing our constituents.
Absolutely. This is His church, and He's going to take care of it. We're called to be faithful stewards, good stewards over His resources, especially over the Word. And God is going to sanctify the hearts and do the work in the hearts for people to give as much as they're able. And
absolutely,
I believe that. And these are people that don't trust in the Word of God. The more I think about it, I say these people, number one, they don't love the biblical Jesus. They love religion. But they don't love the biblical Jesus. And they don't love the Word of God. They don't like sanctification, holiness. Everything is just about money. And it's like, man, as a person that goes to, I remember there's a church out here. I don't want to say the name, but there's a church out here. And I'm starting to see the pastor's face showing up in some of these circles. I'm like, okay, people are starting to see him. But I was going to church, and this is when I first moved here, and my wife and I was looking, and this was about 15 years ago. And wife said, I just feel greedy. Like she said, I just feel greedy in here because it's always about money and wealth. And, so I say, yeah, we're not staying here. So it's that kind of,
No, I'm right there with you. And so I think we can agree then when your focus is on Christ, you find that your focus is on Christ and you're not, you're willing to sacrifice. And like somebody said right here, it's just sad that the neighbors don't just cut it. That's true. And I don't know why these people's neighbors don't chime in and help out. But to our defense, that's our duty as deacons. To get it taken care of. So, and my deacons took care of my mom. My mom had a broken taillight on her car. She had a little fender bender, and my thought process was totally wrong. As her son, I was missing the opportunity. One of the deacons ordered the part and had it put on while we was at Bible study on Wednesday. Didn't tell me the bit. Didn't tell me he ordered it. Didn't ask me for the money. He just ordered, and he just said he just got it done. I said, dang, I felt like, dog, I missed the opportunity. But see, that's the point. I might be missing the point. I'm busy thinking about stuff going on around me, ignoring. Well, I knew about the taillight. I told her that she needs to check on the taillight. She brought it to the deacons and they took care of it. So so though I would love for my mom's neighbor to have done that. Sure. I would love for Miss Sarah's neighbors to cut the grass. It's our joy to do it. It's our joy to be able to say we were able to help and then see them at church on Sunday and know my mom ain't gonna get pulled over because she had a busted tail light and those little small nuances that help out a lot.
Yeah, and they are our neighbors. They are neighbors.
He flamed that recognition. Okay, and they are our neighbors, absolutely. But so cool, man. Well, thank you, Randy, for stopping by, man.
No problem, man. Good to see you. And
it's always good to see you.
And may God bless you and prosper your channel and continue to feed God's people. Yeah, man. God bless you and your family. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Well, you got my email. If ever you want to come on and talk about, or you're ever doing a project, do not hesitate. Do not hesitate. You are definitely a friend of the channel. We'd love to have you come on. If I do a panel, maybe I'll send a little bad signal out. Say, hey, Randy, we're doing a panel tonight. You want to come on and talk about whatever it is that we're talking about? Marvin Sapp. Maybe Marvin. Hopefully, never should have paid it. I mean, there's so many jokes. There's so many bad jokes. We were in a Discord yesterday, and I just pulled up the top 10 Marvin Sapp songs. The song list is some good comedy. The song list alone. Hold on, let me find this list. Because I was like, oh, I can make up some bad. Oh, we were having a good time. Like, oh, this is just so much. Where's this song list? Hold on. Because I've already threw away all my
I know I was thinking of another song, but it's a Teddy Pendergrass song, "Close the Door."
Close the door. Yeah. I mentioned that on the watch call. I said, close the door. I said, only person that needed to say to close the door was Teddy.
Teddy, yep.
I said, oh, I can't find it. Oh, it was terrible. But I pulled up like the top 10 songs of Marvin Sapp, and it was a hoot because you could just run 20 miles in one direction, having fun, making fun of that.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's one thing after another with these guys.
Yeah.
One thing after another with these guys.
All right, real quick. All right, hold on 1 second. Share screen, Jason. Okay, here we go. All right. Let me make this a little bit bigger. All right, we got The Best of Me, You, God Alone, Possess the Land, Never Would Have Made It, of course, praise Him in advance, Standing on the Rock. There was one called, there it is, He Has His Hand on You, Perfect Peace, and I Believe. I was like, I was just making up some of the worst song titles based upon this, because I was like, He Has His Hands on Your Wallet, praise Him for the cash advance. I was just going crazy on him last night. Like, repossess the land. I was like,
there you go. Yeah.
I'm like, man. I mean, I can't give him anything. I gotta do that to him. Yeah. But
I believe, get that 40,000. Yeah, but I bet you believe.
Yeah, I bet you do. Do you go to conferences, Randy? Are you a conference guy?
I'm actually in a conference at the end of April.
Okay, wait. Okay, when you say in a conference, what do you mean?
So I'm a preacher at there's a laborers conference in North Carolina.
Okay, perfect.
And I am one of the speakers. It's about pick up thy cross.
Yep.
Luke's account on when Jesus predicted his death, burial, resurrection. So each pastor is covering a segment of that chapter. I
love it.
So I don't mind him. I don't mind them.
So would you agree? Do you agree with me that conferences need to be professionally planned and budgeted accordingly? Because you as a speaker, I don't know how big it is. I don't know if they're paying for your travel and lodging, but you as a speaker shouldn't have to be like, well, I'm the money. I drew the short straw. Now I got to go up here and ask people to give an extra $50. Am I right, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think a conference, number one, it should have a need, right? There should be a need for it.
Okay. Yeah. For the conference as a general.
Correct.
Yes. Okay. Got you. Love it.
If you're especially if you're asking people to pay, if you're asking people to, whether it's pay in advance for a ticket or to, give extra, it has to be, they have to see that it's a need.
I like it.
And then I do agree with you that it should be planned, budgeted so that, at least the speakers and everyone that's involved should be, maybe not 100%, but comfortable in going there.
Right.
Mine is not that big, so they are helping me out with some things, but some of them are friends, and I don't mind doing it.
Got you.
But wife is looking at me a little sideways,
Don't do it, baby. Don't do it to him. Don't do it to him.
But yeah, so yeah, it should be budgeted, should be planned. You don't want to put a lot of demand on the people especially if it's already ticketed. You don't want to put extra demands on the people. That wouldn't be fair for them.
I agree 100%. Well, thank you, man, Randy. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me.
No problem, man. Thanks for hopping on, man. I know it was the last minute, but I appreciate you hopping on. Please tell your son I said thank you for stopping by. And
no problem. When I told him I'm going to be on, he was so excited. He just, I was like, okay.
Okay. Well, they grow out of that real quick. Let me let you know. I got a 15 and 17-year-old. They only get excited when they can come in and harass me. So That's the only time they get excited about coming on the show. But all right, well, you enjoy your week, man. Have a blessed week.
Thank you.
Please let us know again if ever I can help you out.
No problem. God bless.
All right. Take care, friend. Grace and peace. That was Randy McFoy and from the True Seekers podcast. I dropped his link down in the chat. If y'all get an opportunity, go check out what he's doing over there. Wait, I thought I did. I did drop it, right? I did. I know I did. All right, let me drop it again. Make sure I have it. Sorry about that, y'all. But yeah, that was Randy. Always good to see him. I'm glad he stopped on through. I hate that I haven't been keeping up with him, but now we got him back. We back in here with Randy. Drop his stuff in here. I was waiting to see if our friend was going to come on and tell me about, set me straight about Christianity as a cult. I was waiting for them. I don't know if they're going to come on through though. I was looking for them. So Ville 607 said that they're going to come through, but they have not come through. All right, that was a good little while ago. I'll give them a few more moments. I want to see if they're going to come by and help me out. Thank you so much, Piggy. Please make sure you go check out what Randy is doing over there. All right, I appreciate y'all. This has been a lot of fun. Nonetheless, it's been good. I'm looking forward to him coming on. Absolutely. I want to hear. Set me straight now, y'all. Don't let me be